Hello and welcome to the May Portland Modern Quilt Guild meeting. While everybody's getting settled in, I would like to, thank our business sponsors, Modern Domestic, Bolt, Aloha Sewing and Vacuum, and Montevilla Sewing Centers. I'd also like to give a programs preview of what's coming up next. And for more details, you're always welcome to check out our website. So in June, we will be hosting the Quilt Buzz podcast. And I would like to note that this presentation is going to take place at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so 2 hours earlier than our normal meeting time. And we have Amanda with us tonight.
Hello.
I believe that Erin is spotlighting her video, and she's going to let you know who they will be interviewing and what to expect.
Yeah, so I don't know if Wendy, my
She
one
is.
other third, is she? Okay.
Yep, I'm adding her now.
I am here.
There she is.
Sorry, slight technical difficulty. Hey everyone. Hey everyone, I'm Wendy.
And as I mentioned earlier, I'm Amanda, and we are 2/3 of the team behind Quilt Buzz. Our third musketeer, Anna Brown, couldn't make it tonight, but she says hi. And we are all super excited to be coming to Portland virtually next month for a live recording of our podcast. If you're not familiar with the podcast yet, we like to style ourselves as the podcast for quilters, by quilters, about quilters from across the quiltiverse. And every other week, we basically sit down with a different quilter or person in the industry, whether it's a shop owner or we've had different like software designers join us, all sorts of different folks to learn more about like who they are, their quilting journey, as well as to take the opportunity to ask them the real nitty gritty questions of like, do you sew with your shoes on?
And what's your pressing preference? Is it open to or to the dark side?
And every time we ask that, the team gets into a fight. So get ready for a very heated debate. It's a very practiced debate next
Yeah,
month.
I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty familiar with that debate if you do listen to us quite frequently. But anyway, for the live stream, we're going to be interviewing the Ravi of Strawberry Quilt Creek Quilts. Sorry. Typically we'd come up with the questions ourselves, but because you're all joining us for the recording, we'd love you to also contribute to the conversation. So we've shared a Google link, Google form with the guild. So you can feel free to add in any of the questions that you may have for her. One of the things I'd suggest is probably start following her and just seeing what sort of content that she's putting out, what sort of information that generally sort of helps out in creating those sort of questions that you may have for her. So yeah, if you don't mind just filling out the form by June 10th, that'll be great.
Yeah, and also if you have any questions for us, we don't specify it on the forum, but throw them in there too. If you also have any like suggestions of new rapid fire quilty questions, we're always looking for new things to put our guests on the hot seat for. So any questions you may have, throw them into the Google Docs. And as Wendy said, if you could just fill that in by end of day on June 10th, we'll close the doc at that point so that we can go through them, consolidate them, and also give Baravi a chance to prep a little bit beforehand. And so yeah, so we're really excited to join.
Yeah, we're
excited to host you. I just wanted to mention to all of our members that that Google Doc and the bio of the quilter that they're interviewing will be going out on the Monday newsletter from PMQG. So look for it there. You haven't missed out on anything yet. So it'll be there on Monday in your inbox. So thank you.
cool.
Thank you. So
Thanks.
we'll hope to see you guys all next month. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's going to come around so quickly.
That's great.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So, and then in July, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled time of 7 p.m. And we will be hosting David Owen Hastings. And he's presenting his lecture, Minimal Design, Maximum Impact. And he's going to be offering us 2 workshops. One is a full-day workshop inspired by architecture, and the other is a half-day workshop, Mini Mod Quilts. You're going to, if you're interested in applying for a scholarship, the scholarships will open on June 10th, and it will go on sale on June 15th at 6 p.m. In August, we will be hosting Sujata Shah, and she will be presenting Stories in Stitches. She'll also be hosting us, or we'll be hosting her for her workshop, How to Make a Kwandi CD Quilt. And her work is so beautiful. Check out her website. I mean, you'll just be in awe. And finally, in September, we will be hosting Krista Henneberry, and she will be presenting her Search for Signature Style lecture. And I wanted to note that this meeting is happening September 9th, which I believe is the second Thursday of the month rather than the third Thursday. So I'll keep on reminding people that this is happening earlier in the month than usual. Her workshop, however, will be on September 18th as per usual, and it will be speed date with improv. And with that, I would like to welcome Susan, our wonderful our wonderful member of the programs team, to help to introduce Cantera and give you a little bit of background. So Susan.
Thank you, Chris. I'm really excited about our upcoming programs, but I've been looking forward to tonight for a long time, and we're just so thrilled to welcome Cantera St. Montaigne to PMQG. I'm just going to take a second before we get started to suggest that you may want to get something to write on. Paper and pencil, sketchbook, Post-it notes, whatever you have handy. I know you won't want to miss a minute of her talk for this later, so feel free to grab it now, and you'll be ready to catch all the amazing brilliance that will be heading your way in the next hour. Cantera is a lifelong New Yorker and the creative force, the hands and heart behind Brooklyn Mojo, a gorgeous collection of hand-printed accessories, home goods, and her vibrant signature patterns on Kona quilting cotton panels, perfect for your own sewing and patchwork. She prints all of her fabric in her home studio in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, collaborating with a fellow artist in the borough who sews her original designs. She sold her work at every Quiltcon as a vendor and a sponsor, and then began teaching printmaking classes there, where our own Erin Case was one of her students, and thankfully invited her to speak and teach for PMQG. Music was her biggest creative outlet until a friend's gift of a screen printing class brought a captivating new talent to her life. In her own words, the first time I lifted a screen and saw my own design on cloth, I was hooked. She's said she's also drawn inspiration from fellow artists like Jen Hewitt's 52 weeks of printmaking practice, Margaret Molinari's 100 days of printing with everyday objects, and Lotte Jansdotter's hands-on workshops, distilling the technical process of applying ink on fabric into a bright and beautiful visual language that's all her own. We love Cantera's work, and an hour of just enjoying a trunk show of her gorgeous fabrics and genius eye for captivating design would have been something special all on its own. But she's taken an even more generous approach, widening the path for all of us to learn more about printmaking tonight, from starting with an original design to the logistics of block printing, overprinting, tools, combining positive and negative print ideas, and sharing tips. It's such a gift for our guilds to get the chance to learn and get inspired together, especially in a year that's been so isolating and lonely for so many of us. 20 lucky members will be taking our workshop on Saturday to go much deeper into these techniques and all the magical math that makes them flow and repeat. But if you weren't able to get a spot, no worries. She'll be offering a new virtual class on her own platform coming this fall. So please keep an eye on her Brooklyn Mojo Instagram or join her mailing list for all the updates, and visit her website to find your new favorite print to design your next quilt around. I'm so excited for this opportunity for our guild to learn together, and thank you to Cantera for bringing brightness and beauty to our virtual community. Please join me in welcoming Cantera St. Montaigne.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to share what I know about block printing with you. I'm here in my home studio. This is like Mojo Central for me. I do all the printing in this. Used to be my living room, but it's my studio now. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started.
We will be posting the question and answers on our YouTube channel. And let's see, if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the chat. I've already started writing down some of the ones that have come up during your presentation, which I'm taking your workshop. I'm so excited. I can't wait. So I am wondering, what is the best shape for beginners to start with for carving? Is there a shape that you would recommend people to stay away from, or?
No, I would say one of the easiest shapes to play with when you're just starting is something geometric. Just a simple geometric circles, and then like the two circles of just circles and circles, or squares and squares. Geometrics are really easy. Triangles fit together really well. Squares fit together really well. It's as you grow as a printer, then you can get more intricate and more intricate. And I wouldn't start out with a really tiny thing, because you've got to learn how to use the tool, and you've got to learn to keep your tools sharp. So that's why sometimes you want to make sure that if you have a carving tool, you can always go back and buy replacement blades. There are ways to sharpen them. There's a device that I think Speedball sells. It's kind of like a slip strop to sharpen your blades, but it's easier to replace them, and they're kind of cheap, and you just get a bunch of them and slap them back in. So yeah, I would just start with simple motifs. The simpler the better, because patterns are built on just a simple motif. We don't have to get really complicated. You can, as you grow as a printer, you will automatically become more complicated and challenge yourself with more things.
Let's see, somebody asked if you ever use a paintbrush to add in detail.
I use a paintbrush to just print a whole big slash of fabric all the time. Hang on. This piece of fabric was all painted. It's all just painted.
Oh, wow. That's gorgeous.
So you can always go back in and add things. You can always go back in and really customize what you want. I normally start printing and I play with it, and then I kind of go, I leave it, walk away from it, come back. And then before I add things, I let it sort of rest so I can look at it from a distance, so I can look at it close, and then I start to add other things to it.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody was wondering about when you iron on the back, do you put anything over your ironing board to sort of protect it? Does the ink ever bleed onto it?
If it's not totally dry, it can bleed and it can get on your iron. So that's why I say to leave it for 24 hours for it to just have a chance to dry. You can put a little piece of cotton down on your ironing board if you want to protect it, if just the possibility that it might scooch or something. Okay. But I'm usually ironing on my work table here, which is covered in canvas. So if the canvas gets any more ink on it, I don't care. But if you're concerned about your ironing board, yeah, you can just lay something. Because the point of heating it is that you're putting heat on. The intensity of that iron is the type of intensity that is going to make the textile ink bind to the fabric.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked, how long do you leave the first color to dry before adding a new color?
24 hours.
24 hours, okay. Is there anything that you do to prepare your fabric before printing? Do you pre-wash it?
I do not. I found that pre-washing made so many headaches of trying to then get the fabric flat again.
Okay.
That I don't pre-wash.
So you've
I
never
found-
found any issues with the sizing that's already in the fabric or anything like that?
Not with Kona. I have never had an issue with Kona. So I love the way that Kona cotton holds the ink. It just, I've never had a problem. I've washed it, I've tested it, I've thrown it in the hottest water I can think of. I have done all the things I tell you not to do just to see if the ink is gonna hold, and it has. So I don't pre-wash my fabric.
Great. Let's see. Beth wants to know if you can use oil-based paint for art quilts that will not be laundered.
There are, I think it is once again Speedball that has made a new type of ink that is oil-based for fabrics. I have never used it. I saw someone at the print shop use it. It was a little harder to clean, where you had to use either oil or some sort of chemical to get the ink off of your rollers, and I've never used it, so I don't really know. I'm assuming that I would check out the Speedball ink that is oil-based and see what the instructions are. You can use oil-based inks if it's never going to be washed, but they cure really differently. They take a long time to dry. So just be sure that you're aware of that. And if you're not heat setting it, I'm not sure what would happen over time. So it's just something that you might want to experiment, throw it, try a little bit, see what happens, let it sit for a couple of months and see what you think of it.
Let's see, Wanda wants to know, oops, it just disappeared. There it goes. She wants to know which of the Jacquard paints do you prefer? I'm assuming that Jacquard is the brand, but it's
Part is the brand. They make a textile ink.
okay.
They make a specific textile ink, and that's the one that,
not a paint.
it's kind of pricey and they come in little tiny pots, but man, that ink is so beautiful. And some of the colors that they come up with is just, it's my splurge.
Yeah.
there's one little special thing that I want. I kind of go for my little pots.
So don't start experimenting with
Nope.
Jacquard ink.
I would, if you're gonna experiment, go get the Speedball textile ink.
Okay.
Make sure it's the textile ink. It's comes in big pots. It's much more forgiving, and you can find it everywhere. And that's what I would start with.
She also wants to know if you ever mount the stamps onto wooden blocks.
I don't mount it on the wooden blocks, but I do make what I call temporary mounts. I use my quilting ruler. And I simply Elmer's glue the block onto it. And when I'm done, because the quilting ruler gives me the precise measurements that if I'm really going in to be precise in this repeat, then I want to be able to use these measurements. And once I'm done, you just wash it and the Elmer's glue releases itself and the ruler's back. So that's what I would use.
Great tip. I love that. Let's see. Nancy wants to know, for drying the fabric, do you hang it to dry or do you just lay it flat?
I have these little IKEA stands. It's a little rack that when you open it,
Oh, okay, yeah.
they're at IKEA, they're really cheap, and I simply hang my fabric over it to dry.
Okay. Let's see. Angel wants to know if you need to use the prepared for dyeing Kona, or do you just use any?
Plain old Kona, plain old. Yeah, I don't use the PFD because I'm not dyeing. I'm using textile ink.
Okay.
I think those fabrics are set up for when you're actually using dye and not ink.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
I
this
just-
is like a whole new world for a lot of
Totally.
us. So we are just like, we want to know.
okay, ask away.
Let's see. Renee wants to know, for design transfer, what weight of pencil do you use? Is it an HB, H, or just a standard number 2?
You can use a number 2, but you have to put a lot of, you're gonna have to put a lot of pencil on it. I started using a 6B by Statler.
Okay.
This thing,
Okay.
because it's a softer lead, so I get a lot more lead or graphite on the transfer paper with this. But you can use a number 2. That's what I usually use when I'm teaching, and people just, it'll transfer. You just need a little bit more.
Okay, let's see. Amy is wondering, she says, or they say that in the workshop supply list that acrylic paint dries too quickly. And they want to know, have you experimented at all with using acrylic paint mixed with textile medium?
I have, I don't like it.
Okay.
I personally don't like it. I prefer an ink that is already set up for textiles. If you get the proportions wrong of the acrylic to the textile medium, it's a variable. You have to keep testing to make sure that you're always, whatever the ratio is always correct.
Mhm.
I haven't found any acrylic inks that were so inspiring that I would need to use that. But I know that people do use it, but I have not. Let me take that back. I used it in the print shop and I didn't like the effect.
Okay. Okay.
Because not only do you have to put the textile medium, you usually have to put some sort of what they call propylene glycol, which is something that keeps your ink, what they call open, which means keeps it from drying out.
Okay.
So in the summertime, if I'm screen printing, in addition to my textile ink, I have to put a little of the propylene glycol in it. It's called retarder, so that the ink doesn't dry out too fast, because in hot weather, it's going to dry faster.
Okay. Let's see. Have you ever printed on dark fabric?
I have.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to use there are different types of white ink. There's something called a standard white ink, and there's something called an opaque, which is a translucent base. So it's if you print on black, it's going to kind of turn gray.
Okay.
But if you use what they call a white opaque, it's a denser white ink. It's going to stay more white once you dry it.
I'm writing
The opaque white ink is thicker, so it's not as easy to print, but that's why I normally tell beginners to start out on light fabric. Dark is a whole other thing. Sometimes you have to double print in screen printing if it doesn't get dark enough. So
Okay.
It's something to experiment with, but there are different types of whiting.
Okay. Let's see. Tara wants to know if you ever keep, or do you keep a sketchbook for inspiration? Or
I do.
You do? Okay. And kind of along those lines, I'm wondering, do you always start with a pre-drawn design, or do you ever just take a block and just start carving into it to see what happens?
I always do that. That's how that little orange block, the negative block, I just decided like, oh, what'll happen? I'll just turn it.
Okay. So yeah, so you're not always just drawing out the design. You're just
No,
you just go for it usually.
I use block printing. For me, block printing is experimenting. It's where I can easily just futz around and play with stuff that's not the precision of screen printing. So I use block printing to do more woodcutty vibe things and more free form things. I'm not a very intricate cutter like someone like Lino Cave. She's like, it's math. Her stuff is like science. So I'm kind of like and slap it on and see if it prints. So that's kind of what I approach block printing.
That's great. Let's see. Okay, Linda wants to know, how well do different media combine? And she says, for example, like tea juice markers with printing ink. And I have no idea what a tea juice marker is. So I don't know if you know or.
Neither do I. Google tea juice marker. I have no clue. I haven't heard of it. What is it?
Yeah, TEE. Yeah, Linda, I'm not sure. If you want to, Linda, you can unmute to ask your question because we're not really sure. Oh, she says it's from Dharma. Yeah.
Oh, Dharma Trading. Okay. Is it a dye? is it a, if it's,
She says
You
yes.
you could probably combine them. I would probably start with the dyeing portion first and then printing on it. I would not try the printing first and then dyeing. I don't know how the dye would react to the textile ink, but I know that I have dyed natural like onion skin and avocado stuff like that in a pot and printed on top of it, and the ink helped.
Okay. Okay, so Linda wants to know if you make quilts from your fabric.
Will.
It's okay. I mean, you and I talked about this, so.
I've made some little abstract quilty blocks, but I am not a quilter. I have tried, and I've made some quilt blocks. I made a log cabin. I made some abstract stuff, but it's something that I would like to do when I get into another slow period, because I have a quilt from my grandmother that she hand quilted, a quilt top, and I would like to create the backing for it by making some quilted stuff from my own fabric. So
So
we'll
did
see.
you kind of come into the quilting world through Quiltcon and, okay. So
I
that's
came into the quilting world through Instagram. There were a couple of quilters that started to follow my feed, and I started to ask questions. They were asking if I made fabric for quilting, and I was like, what's that?
Ooh.
So they're the ones that schooled me. So I printed a bunch of stuff and sent it to them, and their first response was, what kind of cotton is this? It's just kind of like, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, what do you mean? And they were like, Kona cotton. So that was big
Yes.
school.
Some
Oh
of
my
us,
God.
some of us are cotton snobs.
I mean, you can see through it if you hold it up to the light. So yeah, that's how I came to quilting, through Quiltcon and through the graciousness of quilters that have schooled me on what to do. And
Oh, yes, no, when I first started out, I was buying, yeah, I don't even know what this fabric is. And I think all of us have been there, so we get it. I'm going to ask just one more question and then we'll let you go because I know it's getting really late for you.
I'm a night owl. Sure.
How time intensive is it to cover your entire fabric with prints? For example, the red one that you showed near the end. Was it?
The one with the negative design? With the little.
Oh,
Ooh,
it's like
hang
a
on.
reddish orange, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Hang on 1 second.
And I guess along the same lines, I'm curious, what's the biggest piece that you've made? Like biggest piece of fabric that you've made a repeat over?
Probably 4 yards
Oh, okay.
of block printed stuff that was a special order, and it was for a friend of a friend. I don't think I would do it again. I think it would be something that could easily be screen printed,
Okay.
but
Oh,
hand
yeah.
block printing yardage is really precise, because I use quilting rulers to orient my blocks, and I didn't have a ruler long enough, so I had to keep moving it, and it was a challenge. But the orange piece probably took, I only did maybe a yard of it,
Okay.
and it wasn't very wide, so it probably took, I don't know, a little over an hour. Because that piece, the thing of it is once again using a ruler to keep the block steady as you go across, and because the ink touches, it was much easier to just keep printing next to it. So the edges of the block, because it's in negative, it touches, and it just makes it easier just to print across in a steady stream.
Great. Okay. I am going to thank you again.
Sure.
This was so great. I'm so excited for your workshop, and I just wanted to mention to everybody that we did have a last minute cancellation for the workshop, and the person said, you don't have to refund money. I understand that whoever takes my spot probably won't be able to get the supplies. So if you are interested in taking Cantera's workshop, and you will not have to pay, please, whoever is, you can add your name to the wait list and we will contact you. So type fast, and good luck. Hopefully you'll get in. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. And I so appreciate being able to share this with you. And I'm excited, and I hope that you're inspired to come on and block print. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Bye-bye. Okay, I am going to start my screen share. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I believe my screen share is on. Please correct me if it is not. So getting onto the business meeting, I saw a question that popped up in the chat about meeting in person. And I just wanted to address this really quick before we start our just general business. And we have a very large number of out-of-town members currently. And at the beginning of the year, we told everybody that we are committed to meeting via Zoom for the remainder of the year. And we are going to be continuing to do that. However, we are looking into reopening Open So Day. We just need to comply with the governor's orders as far as gatherings and making sure that everybody's able to stay safe. So if you have any questions for the Guild regarding meetings or things like that, please feel free to email or reach out to us, and we would be happy to talk to you. So with that, I wanted to talk about some upcoming events. So this weekend on Saturday, May 22nd, Kath will be hosting her charity sew drop off and pickup. And so at this event, you can come and either drop off things that you've completed for our charity program. She has kits of either quilt tops that you can sew or wonky stars that you can sew into, basically make stars, and then she assembles them into quilts or whatnot. And or you can pick up things that need to be quilted. You either long arm, or there's quilts already basted. If you're wanting to practice your quilting skills, this is a great opportunity because these are mostly donated to Dornbecker Children's Hospital. Oh, there's quilts that also need to be bound. Thank you, Sam. And what was I gonna say? So it's a great opportunity to practice. So most of these quilts go to Dornbecker Children's Hospital, and the kids are not going to judge your quilting. They're not going to judge your piecing. They are just going to love on that quilt. So please come and pick something up. And I'm really sorry if you are out of town. We don't really have a way right now to get supplies to you with it being cost effective. And I just wanted to mention there will be no free table drop off at this event. And last month there were 19 completed quilts that went to Dornbecker, which is outstanding. So thank you everybody that's participating in this. And I just wanted to mention, if you're wondering what a wonky star is, I mentioned this last month. Erin has put up on YouTube a little tutorial of what to do once you get your little wonky star kit. So it comes in a little plastic baggie of all of these pieces. And if you're just like, oh my God, what is this even? Please check out the PMQG tutorial and you will know how to make it. So charity zipper bags is also going on. Drop off and pickup is available on Mondays, but the organizer has asked that you please text before coming. And that information is in the members only section as far as getting in contact with her. There are kits available. If you do have zippers or freezer bags or fabric to donate, please consider donating that to Charity Zipper Bags. These zipper bags are then filled with personal items, personal care items that go to Portland Homeless Family Solutions. So thank you. So the free table, unfortunately, is canceled for May. There was a little bit of miscommunication on my part, and I completely flubbed up the dates. So it is canceled for this weekend. It's not happening. Our wonderful host is going out of town. So, but I am excited to announce it's coming to Gladstone in June, which is so close to me, and I'm so excited. So look for a new address in June in Gladstone. And if you don't know where Gladstone is, it is right off of 205. I mean, like, it is a quick little jaunt from almost anywhere. So I wanted to really quickly thank a couple of volunteers that have stepped up in the last couple of months. Our new volunteer coordinator is Marika, and I can say she has been doing a great job of just coordinating everything. It's making things so much easier as far as guild communications amongst volunteers. So I just wanted to tell Marika, thank you so much. And also our spring retreat, Ann Nelson and Jenny McKee. I have heard so much positive feedback about the retreat, and everybody is saying they had such a great time. And I just wanted to thank Ann and Jenny for organizing it. I know it was a huge undertaking, so thank you so much, guys. So Quiltcon is coming up, and there's a few important dates to remember. So June 24th, the catalog will be released, and August 4th, the member registration will open. And in the past, this has been, you know, the website crashes, it's crazy, people can't get into classes. If you are considering attending Quiltcon, I would recommend, and you have not purchased your MQG add-on membership, please don't wait until the last minute to do so. If you purchase that membership like August 1st, it takes a while for our membership team to contact MQG to get you added, and then you need to get added on MQG's end. It's not an automatic addition. So you could potentially, and I think this has happened in the past, miss out because you did not add that to your membership. So please, 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 if you're thinking about going to Quiltcon, don't wait until August 1st to become an MQG member. However, you can register as a non-member, but like I said, most of the classes will probably be filled up. So September 1st to October 31st, entries are being accepted. And December 15th will be the day for notification if your quilt has been accepted. Sorry, I knew I missed something. So with Quiltcon, there is the Quiltcon Community Outreach Quilt. So this is a quilt that is designed by our guild members. We typically in the past have asked people to think about the theme. So this year it's angles, and come up with some designs. And then you will submit them to the guild, and the entire guild will vote on which quilt we would like to make. So if you are interested in designing a quilt, we will have more information about that online and also in our newsletter. So keep looking to that and kind of think about what you would design with the theme angles. We'll also have the opportunity to sell our quilt during Quiltcon, and it is going to benefit the Women of Color Quilters Network and the Navajo Quilt Project. So more information, check out the Get Involved tab. And if you are interested in coordinating, please email the guild and we can talk to you about what that all entails, and that would be great. So thank you. We have a new shop item. So clappers are available to pre-order now. So this is like, if you have never used a clapper, they're quite frankly amazing. I thought, why would you need it? It's just a piece of wood. But seriously, your seams will be flatter than they've ever been. The last day to do the pre-order is May 31st. So in order to get a clapper, you really do need to pre-order, because then we'll know the number that we need and we'll submit it to the woodworker, who is going to be cutting them and laser engraving them. And I will say that this is a really nice size clapper. It's 12 inches. So it will flatten the seam of a nice big 12-inch block. So please make sure to get your pre-order in. They're $25 with US shipping included. If you are out of the country, you will need to select in the shop the, I think, non-international, I can't remember what it's called. And it will tell you that it's $25 and that we will then contact you to let you know how much shipping will be. And the clappers will then be shipped and ready in late June to early July. And with that, it is time for our block of the month presentation. And I am wondering if Tara is here.
I'm here.
Okay, great.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Erin, can you spotlight Tara for me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Hey, so this month of May is about air pollution. And this one was breath of fresh air, pun intended, compared to last month. Last month's block was a little more time intensive because it was applique and it was a kind of an intricate shape. This time around, it's just basic strips that you're piecing together, and then you have the option of adding some embroidery afterwards, or using a print that kind of mimics stars or clouds, something to do with the air or the sky. I really like this block. So I wanted to share just a couple of things I learned when I was kind of researching air pollution this month. So I'm going to rewind to, I was thinking about, well, when did we really become cognizant about air pollution in the United States? And back in 1948, there was a small town in Pennsylvania called Donora, and they had steel and zinc smelters in their town. And so the town had long been plagued with dirty air. Sorry, I'm a little bit ill. But then with certain weather conditions, there was an air pocket that was kind of trapped over the town. And over the course of 5 days, the town's residents, about 14,000 people, experienced severe respiratory and cardiovascular problems. And almost 40 people died just in those 5 days. So that was kind of the starting point to where the U.S. started really thinking about air quality. And states little by little started to pass legislation, but it wasn't until 1970 that the Congress passed the Clean Air Act. And that's only 50 years ago. So it's pretty crazy. So on the slide here, these are a couple of the points that I shared in my message that I sent out. Air pollution kills about 7 million people worldwide every year, which I thought that was crazy. I know many of you also have been thinking about the death toll when it comes to COVID, and just the fact that air pollution kills more than that every year, right? And if we were so if we were so passionate about air pollution as we are about other things like COVID, it'd be interesting to see just how quickly we could change that. So World Health Organization data shows that 9 out of 10 people breathe air that exceeds the guideline limits of high levels of pollutants, which I thought was crazy. Another thing I wanted to share, this block can also be about pollutants outside of the air that we breathe. So in the pollutants that are orbiting our Earth, our space junk. And I thought it was really interesting. I hadn't really ever thought much about, I knew that we send up things up there all the time. And a lot of those things have different components that fall off, and we just leave those things floating around out there. But I had never really read into that. One thing that I learned was that at least a couple times every year, the International Space Station has to maneuver to avoid a potentially catastrophic collision with space junk. Another thing was that while estimations vary, there are about 4,000 active and inactive satellites in space. they are at risk of being hit by approximately 500,000 bits of floating space debris, ranging in size from micromillimeters to double-decker buses. I thought that was really crazy. So, yeah, so this month's about air pollution, and I can say that next month is going to be about the polar ice caps. Thanks.
Thank you, Tara. And I just want to mention, it's not too late to join. You can purchase the pattern on Tara's website. It's taraleequiltery.com. Is that correct? And
Yeah, for sure. And they put the link. I saw the link in the chat there.
oh, they did. Okay, great. Sometimes it's hard for me to see what's going on in the chat when I'm presenting. So yeah, it's not too late to join. There is a group that meets once a month, and Tara is there to stitch on the block together, talk about the block. I mean, it's a great program. So if you're thinking about getting involved, I think Tara also on YouTube has a curves tutorial. So if you're a little scared of the curve shape, like, you'll be able to ask her questions and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
In fact, in the pattern, there's a YouTube video to the this piecing this exact shape, the teardrop shape. I made a video specific for that. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah. So thank you, Tara. Okay, let's see. There was a question, a few comments back that I saw about donating zippers and fabric to the program. And I would encourage you to check out, if you're interested, check out the members only section and either text the organizer to see if you can send it to her address, because that would probably be the best thing to do, or email the guild and I can forward your information on. I have a little member spotlight. So our very own Christine Yee was featured in the MQG's Modern Monthly. So if you are not an MQG member, you might not know about this little publication. It comes through your email, and it has patterns, and they always have an active call out to members of, do you have a pattern for us? We would love to publish it for you. And this one was Christine, who is a very talented quilter. Her pattern is called A Tiny Bird's Melody. And not only does it make like a nice little mini quilt that, as you can see in this photo here, is used as a placemat, it also is a wipe holder caddy. And if you follow Christine on Instagram, you can see she's made so many like amazing little things with these flying geese that I love it. So, and it looks like Anne put her Instagram handle in the chat. So I encourage you to follow her and check out what she's been doing with these flying geese. We have a few classified ads that have come in. So the first one is somebody that is looking for someone to repair a 25-year-old wedding quilt. There's 20 squares that need to be fixed. And if you are interested, please email this person below. And if you are ever looking for the classifieds, it is in our website. There's a little tab that says classified ads, and there you can find all this information if you're not able to write it down fast enough. Or also, Erin will be posting this on YouTube, I believe sometime tomorrow or the next day, and you'll be able to review this. The second one is the fabric sale that I mentioned last month that is benefiting Trinity Lutheran Scholarship Fund is going on June 4th through 7th from 10 to 4. They still have a lot of fabric left, so bring your own paper grocery bag and check out the great deals. And this is benefiting the Trinity Lutheran Scholarship Fund because this school was very near and dear to the sewist that passed away, and the family thought it would be great to sell off her stash and help with the scholarship. So let's see. Oh, somebody said they saw an Instagram post about it, and there is so much fabric. That's awesome. And with that, we are going to start our show and tell. So be ready to unmute when it is your turn. So first up, we have Jenny. Are you?
Hello.
Hi, Jenny.
This is the Ant Bee pattern, which is also the one we used for the fall charity quilt. And this was one of 3 quilts I did that was quilted by the charity project.
The charity sew program for PMQ.
The charity sew program, yeah. I didn't have the capability of doing it myself. So Kath thought that Tamara had done this, but she said she didn't. So I don't know who actually
We
quilted.
don't know who quilted it. It's beautiful.
So they did a nice job. It's all Tula pink fabrics, so out of my
That's great.
stash.
Thank you. So this is also you, Jenny. Wow.
And this actually, Erin told me she's the one who quilted this, Erin Case, when you you sent her the thing. So this is nice. This was a quilt that I did 7 years ago, the top 7 years ago, as in a class to learn how to use my Bernina 750, which I had bought. So I did this one 7 years ago, and it sort of languished, and I took it out and sent it off to Kath, and Erin quilted it. And so these 2 are going to be going to Kath this weekend for the charity project.
Beautiful. Somebody's going to love those. Okay, so this is my quilt. So I guess I'm next. So this is a pattern by Sam Hunter called Panel Pals. And so basically, if you have a panel, I mean, like, it's kind of disappointing the size of the panel, because I mean, my kids are getting older and their poor little feet kind of stick out through the bottom. So this Panel Pals pattern is basically creates a border on any size panel. And Sam showed me this and I was like, oh my God, I have to make this. So I was making it and my son saw it and he was like, quilt is for me, before I was even able to tell him it was for him. So he claimed it and he has been sleeping with it every night. And Sam did the binding for me. And I believe those are Brittany Scott's fingers and toes sticking out if you look really close. I wasn't there for the photography of it. So thanks for the wonderful picture and the binding and the great pattern. Let's see.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So I started sewing over the last year, and for Mother's Day last year, I gifted my mom some workshops with Jenny Haynes and had the opportunity to take those workshops with my mom, which was absolutely incredible. So this was my first time doing both paper piecing as well as Y seams. And it was just such an awesome experience. If you ever get the opportunity sorry y'all, to take a workshop with Jenny, I would absolutely recommend it. Thanks.
That's amazing. I love it. Okay, Roseanne, are you here?
Hi, I'm here.
Hello.
This was our keepsake blocks from the spring retreat. And I want to say thank you to both Anne and Jenny. It was so much fun. And then we made these blocks as sew-alongs, and I finished it, and I'm going to hang it on my wall. That's it.
I love the binding that you did. It's great.
Thank
you. Okay, Marcy, are you here? Wow, I love this. Hi. Oh, I think you might be muted. Oh no. Let's see. I think I'm sorry.
Chris, can you go back? I can, if she wants, I can read what she submitted with the show and tell.
Is that okay with you, Marcy? Or do you want to present it next month? I really wanted to hear about your quilt. It's so amazing.
I can talk about mine if she doesn't.
Okay.
Okay. We can always go back to hers.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. I'm Emily. This is actually one of Wendy Chow's patterns, who we met in the beginning of the meeting. So I'm really excited to have her joining in the meeting next month. Her book, Urban Quilting, is fantastic. So this is one of the quilts from her book. So I did half hand quilting and half machine quilting because it's absolutely monstrous. But I really like how it turned out.
Amy wants to know what kind of batting, and I want to know the exact same question because it just looks scrumptious.
It's just the cotton batting from Modern Domestic.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how it turned out so poofy. I think it's the I did like a 2-inch 2-inch quilting, so it's pretty big.
Okay.
I think that's how I got so puffy.
It just looks so snuggly.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. And Beth, are you here?
I'm here.
Great.
So this is called Shattered. I started it in a workshop with Jackie Gehring, and it was inset strips. As I kept making blocks, I decided to put the blocks in the background, and I added some shadow boxes by piecing 4 triangles and then adding the little black border. But I really liked how the triangles came out. They almost glow. And this is another picture of my favorite spot in Forest Grove.
That's amazing. Thank you. Amy.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi.
I thought I was ready and I wasn't.
Oh.
There we go. So I'm Amy Dame. This is my first time doing show and tell. I'm a fairly new member of Portland Modern Quilt Guild, but I've been a member of the Northern Vancouver Guild since the very beginning, and I know some of you from when we used to do Pacific Northwest meetups and that sort of thing. So hi from somebody just popped up. So my friend Lisa Flower, Lysa, is really amazing, and she's a fabric designer, and she had 2 lines of fabric come out in the past fall and spring, and they were with Paintbrush Studios, which I've never worked with them before, but they were so lovely to work with. So I highly recommend them. Just the texture and then the feel of them was just so great. So I've always wanted to do a giant churn dash, so that was my opportunity, and I thought that it didn't show clearly enough the size, so I included the picture of me wearing the hoodie that I decorated with the same fabric from the Rebel Girl fabric line. So the blocks are 24 by 24, and I have a hard time quilting things on my own anyway because my shoulders don't have enough strength, so anything bigger than a baby quilt is a problem. But also with COVID, I don't have anywhere to baste quilts anymore because nothing's open anymore. So so this is just a photo of the top, and it'll probably stay that way for quite a while now. But yeah.
We totally get it.
Yeah.
Any form that your quilt's in is welcome in show
Okay.
and tell.
I didn't know if there was a rule or not, so I just did it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, like, this is just wonderful. I'm really glad that you shared it. It's great.
Thanks. And this is the fabric line that came out in the fall called Let the Good Times Roll. That's all roller skate and kind of 70s themed. So this one's kind of 70s, and then the Rebel Girl was kind of late 80s, early 90s, like Riot Girl, which, I mean, Portland, y'all understand that. I still like take a picture of Sleater-Kinney Road every time I go down the I-5. So, so I wanted to showcase Lisa's fabric. And so on the back, I did my usual, I always put batting on the front and the back because I feel like it makes a more substantial pillow. And then I put the binding or sorry, not the binding, the selvage on the bottom. So it has the cute little things. And I used a pattern for the lightning bolt block, and then I turned it into a double block because if you look closely at the yellow fabric, it's a double. It's Lisa Flower, Lysa. And I'll pop a link in the chat. I had them saved ready. So I'll do that. So thank you.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, a few years ago, Paintbrush Studio actually sponsored one of our fabric challenges. So I love Paintbrush Studio. They're awesome.
Yeah, I've never tried their solids. I don't think they're super commonly available in Canada, but they feel like cotton couture almost to me, like that same kind of lightweightness, but less fraying than like Kona. And so they're just really lovely hand to them. Yes. And I just popped that into the chat with links to the fabric lines and also the original lightning bolt paper piecing pattern that I adapted to make into a double.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Oh, wow.
And then this one is, I'll talk about my Vancouver guild members, but I talk about Portland to them too, so don't worry.
It's okay.
So this was a swap that we did, and we've done a couple swaps that were through the mail that have been a really nice way of keeping everyone in touch. So we've done, we're in the middle of our second postcard swap right now. And then we've done a couple swaps that Breen, I've totally blanked on Brienne's last name. It's Happy So Lucky online, that Breen has designed. And so this is one where we're swapping 2.5-inch blocks and you have different color palettes. And I put the Instagram hashtag and link in there because they are amazing and they're so different depending on what you chose for your color palettes. And I'm really loving how super 80s mine feels. And you can get some really cool like negative space stuff going on when you lay them out as well. And it's something that Breen is doing, and she developed it for our guild, but she's doing it for a bunch of other guilds as well. And just asking for donations to an organization, a scholarship fund that she's doing. So even if you had like a group of friends that you wanted to do it with, you can contact her and she'll give you all the information and all the details that she's already set it all up for how to do the swap and the instructions of how to sew them all. And they're just so cute and like really quick, tiny little things to make, but they look so awesome in the notebook or whatever you make with them. And the notebook pattern, I put that link in there too. It's a tutorial that I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's on the Vancouver Modern Quilt Guild blog. And it works really well for the kind of, you know, the standard refillable notebooks. It gives you a bit of space for that. So thank you.
That's great. And I should mention that we later in the year will be speaking with Bernie. I'm sorry, I can't say her name. Barine. We'll be speaking with her later. We are trying to get a block swap organized.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so everybody look for it later in the year. So probably in the fall, I think.
It was a super fun activity to do, and just it was so amazing to see all the different inspiration and what people did with it. So I highly recommend it. So yeah, thank you.
Erin.
Hi, everybody. My name's Erin. This is the first quilt I'm going to show tonight. It's the Moongate Big Block Jelly Logs. This is a pattern by Sam Hunter. She posted this last year when she was making some new covers for some of her quilt patterns. And I love this quilt in the Moongate fabric so much that I took the Instagram photo that she had, and I would like zoom into it to see how she laid out the fabric, and I tried to replicate it exactly as possible because I loved the way that it looked so much. And when she heard that I was doing this, she ended up sending me the high resolution photo, so I didn't have to like try and guess which fabric was where. So I love this quilt. I was using it earlier today, and I just love the colors and the pattern combination and everything. And Chris quilted this for me. And then the next quilt I have to share is Folksy. This is, 'tis the season for teacher gifts. And because of COVID, my twins got put in the same class this year. And so their teacher also was pretty tech unsavvy to begin with. So this year was pretty hard for her in the beginning. And so I felt she deserved a handmade quilt for that. This is a pattern that was in the Modern Quilt Guild pattern series. And so you can find the pattern for free if you're an MQG member. Her name is Bridget Dermott, who designed it. And then for those of you who attended Quiltcon, was it Austin? I think it was Austin. This was also the pair of socks that got created. So I have a pair of socks that matches this, and I just love the pattern so much I decided to make it for her. And the boys asked what her favorite colors were, and they were aqua and teal. So I tried to incorporate those. And that's it.
That is one lucky teacher. Okay, so I guess that is it for show and tell. And so I'd like to say thank you to everybody who attended, and I have a summary of the important dates that are coming up. First off, our next meeting is June 17th, and please note it is at 5 p.m. Pacific time. The ladies who host Quilt Buzz are all the way on the East Coast, so we will be holding the meeting earlier, but do not fret if you are not able to make it. We will be recording the podcast, and if you are a member, you will get a private YouTube link so that you can still view it. I believe the link will be active for a week, and then after that time, you will need to wait until the podcast comes out to listen to it. Let's see. Cantera's workshop, there is one spot left that just opened today. And if you are interested in taking that, please sign up on the wait list. And the person who had to cancel graciously said, you know, you don't have to refund my spot. I realize that it's a big supply list and it's going to be hard to track down all of those supplies. So if you want to take the class and maybe just sit in, listen, learn, feel free to sign up. That's and it's happening May 22nd at 10 a.m. The free table is canceled this month, but look for it. It will be back next month in Gladstone. And Charity Quilt is this weekend on Saturday. Let's see. And finally, the Quilt Embroidery workshop. I didn't mention this earlier. Amanda Carey needed to cancel. She unfortunately was not, she's pretty busy with, I mean, all of the other things that she does. So she unfortunately needed to cancel that. So we will not have a workshop next month. David Owen Hastings will be our featured speaker in July. He is going to be we're going to be hosting him for 2 workshops. The first one will be inspired by architecture, and the second one will be mid-mod quilts. And the scholarships will open on June 10th, and it will go on sale on June 15th at 6 p.m. And I'm just going to note right now while I'm thinking of it, all of these dates and times will, an email goes out every Monday to all of our members and people who are subscribed to our newsletter, so that if you're subscribed, you'll never miss out on an event. So you might want to make sure that you're getting our emails. Queer Quilter Small Group is meeting on May 21st. The Sunday Small Group is May 23rd. And if you are a newer member and are looking to meet people, I would suggest joining a small group. And the Sunday Small Group would be a great place to get started. It's a really nice small group of people that meet, and I think they have fun. So you might want to check that out. A lot of them are have been members for a while, so if you have questions, you can definitely bring them there. And the Block of the Month small group is June 4th. And Quilter Filter is also another really great opportunity if you are newer to our guild to meet other people. It's pretty informal. So Robin, our organizer, usually has a topic, and it's kind of just open for discussions. And the topic is just sort of the conversation starter. So if you don't have anything to say about the topic that is chosen, I'm sure that the conversation will branch off from that. So I encourage everybody to check out the small groups if you are looking to meet people in the guild. So with that, thank you. And we will leave the meeting open if people want to stay around and chat. However, I am really tired, so I am going to log off. So, but thank you everyone who has joined. Take care.